The Rise of Skywalker is often described as a Star Wars film that's going to contain many different sacrifices and losses, as well as an all-out war and a war to end all wars, as said by J.J. Abrams over at D23 just a couple of weeks ago. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, what's really exciting about Episode 9 is that we do know that this movie is of course going to contain many different twists and turns, as well as revelations that will actually connect to the prequels and the originals in different ways. That's going to change our view of course, the entire franchise and the Skywalker saga as a whole. Now, on top of all of this, JJ sets out to make The Rise of Skywalker the darkest Star Wars film in history, which really does speak volumes. Now, on top of all of this, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for Episode 9. Now, specifically, shot descriptions consisting of a sequence where it's explained that Rey, Poe, Finn, and Lando, as well as Chewbacca, are inside of a droid factory, where they are described to be bringing in C-3PO into the factory to implant a chip into 3PO's head. It's described that this explains the red eyes as seen in teaser number 2. That is said to allow him to read an ancient Sith language written on an ancient weapon from the Old Republic era. It's described that one of the sequences is said to involve a moment in which, in order to do such a task, C-3PO's mind would have to be erased, and that the C-3PO the fans know and love will be gone toward the end of the second act of the film. It's described that as C-3PO's memory is wiped as well as his personality type, it's explained that 3PO shuts down for a moment as Finn and Poe carry him on board of the Falcon. One of the scenes that were filmed during the month of August of this year for reshoots even involved the sequence in which 3PO was said to be in pieces on a strange set that appeared to be the entrance of a base. It's actually described to be one of the most emotional scenes in the film's second act, that is said to be a sacrifice by C-3PO in the film on the world of Kijimi that will help the Resistance find Palpatine, as well as the specific point in the unknown regions that he resides on. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, the thing about Episode 9 here is that we do know that this movie, of course, is going to have a lot of sacrifices and losses. In fact, there have been a lot of hints as well that Poe Dameron is also going to die at a certain point in time in this movie, which would line directly up with JJ's original idea of Poe Dameron dying in the very beginning of Episode 7, so not a huge surprise, but I hope he doesn't die because he's one of the more favorite characters out of the trio, in my opinion. But when we look at the character of Rey, I will say that when we look at Rey as a character, the fact that she is with Lando, Poe, Finn, Chewbacca, and 3PO go into the world of Kijimi, where 3PO is said to actually make his own sacrifice. Now, this sacrifice is said to be him actually wiping out his memory and wiping out his own personality type, where the C-3PO that we the fans know and love is going to be gone forever at this point in time in order to read a certain ancient Sith language that's etched into this Old Republic weapon. Very interesting stuff, guys, I must add, because I'm a little worried now, because this by far is the biggest hint of C-3PO's death in The Rise of Skywalker, especially since one of the sequences that were filmed, actually for reshoots back in August of this year, it was actually said to involve pieces of C-3PO being brought on board of the Millennium Falcon by, of course, Poe and Finn. So, like I say, this movie, Anthony Daniels even said that, something very emotional is going to happen with C-3PO. It made him very teary-eyed in the movie, and that there is no reason for him to return in future Star Wars films. And now you can really see where things are going. It could very well answer the question as to why Anthony Daniels was talking like that over at Star Wars Celebration and over at D23 in the press interviews, etc. So, the other piece that I do want to go over here is, of course, this droid factory. Now, this explains as to why he has the red eyes in the second teaser that we got over at D23. A lot of fans were always wondering, why does C-3PO have the red eyes? Well, that's the moment in which his memory is actually getting erased and his personality type is also getting wiped out clean. So, it's not the same thing as what happened, in previous canon material and previous Legends material. The actual personality of 3PO will be gone. And this really does ring a bell because it does bring us back to the previous leaks about 6 months ago that Anthony Daniels was actually filming a very dramatic scene for the very end of the second act of the film with Daisy Ridley and Eunice Suetamo, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, everything is really starting to connect here about, of course, C3PO as a character and what he has to do in order to save the Resistance and in order to defeat Palpatine once and for all. So this is said to actually lead Rey to the unknown regions. This is said to be her ticket to the unknown regions in order to get there. Now, what I like about this as well is that they're also using this as a way in order to bring Rey over to the very point on the world of Exegol, which is where Palpatine is hiding on. That's the world name. It's actually called Exegol. It's a dead planet full of lightning storms that is able to hide Palpatine's presence. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.